much. First, I would like to thank President Pasiar and Mr. Funtik for invitation and outstanding hospitality. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be in Bratislava. Today, I would like to focus a little bit on the BEAM and how to get more from BEAM. From this perspective, I would like to address three main questions. One, in the context of project information lifecycle management, and what is the actual value of BEAM and information that is within BEAM for the project lifecycle. Second question is in the context of digital transformation of construction, why BEAM and AEC digitalization is actually needed, what is the main contribution. And on the other hand, I would like to address the life cycle analysis and sustainability. And on the right side, you have some really advanced features that are being developed, but this is not all what is the future. There are much more simple things that we can achieve. And in the last 15 years, after I started Spin Out on BEAM, and in the recent years, I'm also running at University of Ljubljana and International Building Information Modeling Masters program. I would like to share some experiences, and it's also very good because we bring together professionals from all over the world that already have BEAM experiences, so it's really a valuable contribution also to the development of BEAM. So I would like to address the first question: what is the value of BEAM in the project life cycle? And I put this simple circle that we all well know from RIBA. They were the first that started so-called digital plan of work. And what makes things a little bit more complicated is when we put that together with the IT life cycle. Each tool has its own life cycle. Information has its own life cycle. We are trying to build, in this context, also the life cycle assessment and life cycle costing. And usually we are thinking in a linear way, but each of those circles is turning its own way. So it's really hard to align the IT technologies or the years of building projects and in building lifetime. We are changing standards for the assessment. Greenhouse gases are getting more important with digital transformation in Green Deal that is being pushed forward in EU, and we want to step on that train. And there are many other things that we would like to manage better, exceptionally the costs throughout the building lifetime and total cost of building ownership. It's about 80% of the total expenditures, and capital expenditures are only 20%. And in 2012, we started with the first project, and I would like to share a little bit of experiences that we had in the early years. That was really complex project, 44,000 square meters. Total budget was around 1,010 million euros. And at that time, there were no standards. The British standard PAS 1192-2 was under development. And we were tackling the information needs with our own knowledge. So we were the ones that selected what we actually needed. So there were no requirements for the information. We did a lot of interesting stuff, our own development of object libraries. We did scanning. What is interesting that the trust in the model and scanning was at very low level. The practitioners, they just didn't want to use really precise data and more valuable data. But what was interesting was during the construction period, they established a protocol so that also the subcontractors started to use BEAM, and they were walking into containers. What we are trying to do is to integrate data And what are the lessons learned from these and other projects? It's very important how we think about the value of information for the project. And each information has a little bit different characteristics, how it becomes valuable. And we are on the side to make this information really valuable. So if information that is in the model is not used and is even requested by the client, this actually has negative value. What we can really do a lot in the context of BEAM is that we reduce the latency. So from the event when a business event in construction happens, all the way to decision making, we can dramatically reduce the time required for well-informed decision making. We should focus on relevant and accurate information. We should also take care about the information overflow. At some point, it doesn't make sense to include more information. I remember one architect in the early stages of BEAM development got quite some extra payment, and he asked the client which metadata we should include to all the objects, and the response from the client was, what are you asking? All of them. Imagine a project like this one to include all the metadata from the technical sheet. So really understanding what is the information need is essential. And we can, as it was seen in the previous slide, we integrated databases with the drawings through IDs, and we use it for the tender for technological equipment, and this really brought a lot of value to the project. So really how to integrate data to make more of it, it's important. And what we can see lately is the shift from the requirement per se, without knowing for what the information is for, to level of information need that is focusing on decision making and on the type of presentations that are important for the client to make informed decision making. And what is the focus right now is more on information side, and what we need in construction is consistency, and this is the equivalent of precision that we know in geodesy, and this is really something that can drive the BEAM implementation forward. So what kind of technical standards we have at hand now to meet the growing need for metadata? As we grow in BEAM maturity, there is a growing need in metadata, and IDS is the standard that really focuses on computer interpretable compliance checking, and this is what we need, and that we don't exaggerate. And it's very important that we understand how things develop, from self-defined needs to LOD to line, and finally to automated compliance checking, and this can make a great difference. This should be embedded into the process workflow, so public tenders should go for IDS definitions that allow to reduce the cycles of information exchange, and we have many tools, I think more than 20 of self-declared IDS makers and compliance checkers, and this is really great development. If I address the second question, why BEAM and AEC digitalization is needed, the productivity is a simple answer, and there are many KPIs, key performance indicators, that we should observe to make the advancement in our sector. Over the years, we did many interesting things. We were struggling, we were developing our own tools. Now we have a plethora of tools that we can use, and we spent quite some time for things like this. We were using heavy equipment and did manual work. Now we have utilities that allow us to do things much faster with less effort, and we integrate BEAM models in a way that we can get more out of BEAM. This is, for example, a refurbishment project that we combine with BEAM models and capturing on-site. We can track issues in a way that we use model as communication media and 360 photos. We are using models for refurbishment projects so that you exactly know what was done where and when, and what were the on-site tests performed, and this also helps us to streamline the contractual relationships. Lately, we are using a lot of things that were not possible in the past because of the mobility and accessibility problems, and we can more easily check how the progress is aligned with the actual way of doing things. If you look from the point of view of Green Deal and how can BEAM contribute, there are many things that we can optimize using BEAM, and they are not exploited to the way as it should be, and digital twins will help us to monitor better and to analyze better how the buildings are performing. We will be able to better capture the real-time data as well as the actual situation on site and how the building is being used. I've been on a conference and architects were complaining that they would design much better buildings if they would actually know how the buildings are used, and they would be able to adjust their way of working to actual use of buildings. These new technologies contribute to that. And with BEAM, as we know, we have a higher level of involvement on different levels. And this is very interesting, as in the past, the clients usually agreed with many things because they didn't understand how it looks. Now they have BEAM, and they can really relate to it. And if that is also integrated with GIS, we have a completely different level of decision making. And this is something that is not exploited yet enough. This is what is on the image on the right-hand side, is a demonstration project that we are developing at University of Ljubljana. We did quite some progress in last few months. So we equipped classrooms as well as the building as a whole with many sensors from Hobo. This is really advanced sensoring company. And this can be integrated with digital twin. We are using Tandem, and you can isolate individual rooms, and we are also monitoring the well-being of students in the room. So there are tables that are equipped with sensoring data, and we can capture what is going on in real time. So what could be the benefit in the future? We would be able to really understand how the building is used, what is the commodity that is acceptable by the end users, and how we can adjust the use of building to better meet the needs and actual situation in the activities within the building. From the point of view of Green Deal, we want to reduce the impact on the environment. We would like to introduce circular economy, and circularity is one thing that will be facilitated by BEAM, and what we can expect. And there are already tools out there that we are able to assess what is the amount of reusable, recyclable information in BEAM, and what is the embodied energy, and how this can relate to digital passports that are being prepared for building products. So to conclude, how to get more from BEAM? We should look at activities that increase the value of project information, and I like to use the word BEAM logistics, having the right information in the right time at the right place. And for this, we need better tools. We need to put more attention to effective information management, and proper BEAM implementation is based on, as we also see as a good example in your strategy, on standards, on processes and protocols that enforce value of information for specific information needs, and there are undoubtable advantages of implementation of BEAM that you can see on the right-hand side. Thank you very much.